Welcome back, gang, for the first time and hopefully many more to come. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on the notifications right here, this little bell, so you can get those emails every time we go live. Peace.
Man, you spoke of time, and obviously you being the manager and trainer of Deontay. Best question to ask you is what he's been vocal about, at least this whole month, the fact that Anthony Joshua seems now in the public to not sound like he wants an immediate Deontay Wilder fight, and instead he says he's not ready or he needs more time, and Deontay feels how he's trying to wait for him to get old or somehow lose. Do you feel that way?
No, I don't know exactly what's going on with the Joshua camp relative to this type of a fight coming up, but I do know this. The heavier you are, weight division-wise, the later your prime is. A 31-year-old 106-pounder is an old man. A 31-year-old middleweight at 160 is in his prime. A 31-year-old heavyweight, where Deontay is a baby. Most of the guys in the heavyweight division, if you look historically, if you look at guys like Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield and the Klitschko brothers, Vitaly and Vladimir. These guys, and I'm sure there's about 4 or 5 more I could think of, but these guys are peaking 32 to 35, even 36 is that prime area where they're at where those are their peak years. So I don't think that there's any thought process by which Deontay's going to get old in the next several years. I do think that perhaps Joshua, they may be looking at it from a standpoint of getting a little more experience, which makes sense. But in terms of waiting for Deontay to age out on some level, that's not going to happen. So I don't see that being an issue.
Now, I spoke to Deontay yesterday on this topic, and he said he wants it right now. I said, why not build it up? Why not let Anthony Joshua have his first U.S. fight so that the U.S. public knows who he is? Why not you have a fight in the UK versus maybe Dillian Whyte so they know who you are, so that the fight could be on pay-per-view and do over 2 million buys? He says we're heavyweights. We're going to do over 2 million buys right now. What do you think?
I think Deontay's right. I think it's a huge fight. It's a huge fight. Should Joshua take care of Pulev, Deontay takes care of Stavern, it's a huge fight and one that we need to talk about immediately. There's no reason to wait. Look at, unfortunately, situations like Paul Williams was in an auto accident and could have fought Canelo a year earlier. You've got situations where guys get injured. You've got situations where guys break hands or get cut, or any number of things can happen. So while a fight is hot and it's ready and it's ripe, that's the time to put it out there for the public. I don't want people saying, like they did with Pacquiao and Mayweather, oh, this should have happened 5 years ago. Imagine the fight it would have been, or Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns 2, which happened about 3 or 4 or 5 years too late. I want this to be a fight where there's no excuses. Both guys are at the top of their game. Both guys are in public demand. Both guys can sell. Both guys are at their physical, mental, career peaks, and they laid it on the line. And that's what we want. That's all Deontay's ever wanted.
Well, Jay, I want to thank you, obviously, and obviously you don't do any social media, so we'll be back for day 3.
Yeah, I do a little Facebook.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do a little bit, but the last thing I want to say is, when it comes to Deontay, I just think people should appreciate what they've got. You got to consider that before Deontay came along, heavyweight champions fought about once a year, maybe sometimes twice a year, but on average a little over once a year was what heavyweights fought. Deontay comes out, and including his title fight and including the fight coming up, that's 7 championship fights in under 3 years. 7. And he's had 2 broken hands, 2 eye injuries, a 3rd-degree burn, and he's still got 7 championship fights and a torn bicep in under 7 years. I think that's incredible. And you also have to remember, this includes 2 fights where Deontay tried to give the public and the fans what they wanted with the Povetkin fight and the Ortiz fight. So I think that's an incredible body of work that Deontay has put together in less than 3 years. And I think people should really appreciate that. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But it's real and it's true, and no other heavyweight has done what he's done, especially when it comes to the number of fights and trying to give the fans what they want. And that's yet another reason why the Joshua fight, should everybody take care of business in their next fight, the Joshua fight is right there, because that's what the fans want. and we'll try it again. It didn't work with Povetkin, it didn't work with Ortiz, but we're right back in the pocket and saying that we would want the biggest fights possible.
Can we add Joseph Parker to that list? Because last time I was here for the Gerald Washington, Deontay said stick around. After the fight, it's going to be a huge announcement. You'll see. I finally am getting what I wanted. I come back. It didn't happen. I talked to him yesterday. He says, man, they talked to us. They said they wanted to fight. They asked us about it. We thought it was going to happen. It didn't happen. What's your thoughts? What do you know about Joseph Parker and Deontay Wilder? Are we ever going to get that unification?
I don't know what's in the cards for Joseph Parker. He beat Hughie Fury. Hopefully this is a fight that can come together. We would want it. We're willing to do these fights, I want to add, anywhere. We have no problem traveling. We've never had a problem traveling. We're going to be the first American heavyweight champion to travel to Russia and take on Povetkin. Of course, that didn't happen. Went to England to take on Audley Harrison. We have no problem traveling anywhere. New Zealand, London, Sheffield, the Moon, like wherever. You know, if you tell us where to be, we'll be there. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. Obviously, we got business to take care of first. That's where my focus is. That's where Deontay's focus is. I know Deontay likes to window shop and look into the future, and I'm cool with that because he uses it as motivation. He looks forward. He knows he has to take care of business, and I know we have to take care of business on November the 4th. So that's the immediate concern, and after that, we just want the biggest fights like we always have.
But can you give us your thoughts on what happened with the previous negotiations with
I don't know. I thought we were in a good position for that fight, and then all of a sudden I was hearing that it wasn't going to happen, and I don't know exactly what happened there. But as far as I'm concerned, as far as Deontay's concerned, we love the fight. I think Joseph's a tremendous fighter. I know his coach. We get along very well. I want to put the fight together. I hope they do. So we're ready. I mean, we're going to stay ready.
Speaking of a fight, putting together fights, right? Eddie Hearn is very vocal. He's on his Twitter. He's on I Film London, consistently saying he wants to make this Dillian Whyte fight. Obviously, Deontay doesn't want it. You're also a manager and not just trainer. Right. I mean, we're talking about $4 million allegedly is what Eddie Hearn is offering offering Deontay Wilder to fight Dillian Whyte. And you know, Wilder's response on his social media is, you got 5.6 for Charles Martin to fight Anthony Joshua. I'm the WBC champion. Right. I deserve more. All I'm going to say is Dillian Whyte is not Anthony Joshua, so I can see the decrease in money, but you, from a manager standpoint, is that enough money for your guy to go to the UK? My
initial thought was, if we're going to the UK, why not fight their #1 guy? Why would we be relegated to fighting their second guy? That would be the same thing as saying, Joshua, come over to the U.S. Oh, but we want you to fight this other guy. No, we're the champ. He's the champ. Let's put it together and see how it comes out. That was my initial thought. Since I've heard all the trash talk and everything and all that, my thought is, if a Joshua fight cannot be made next, but a Dillian Whyte fight can be made next, and there's no kind of trickery in the contract with options and all these kind of things, but if it's a straight up deal for the fight, then let's do it. I don't have any problem doing it. I don't have any problem doing it over there if the Joshua fight can't be made.
And is $4 million in your opinion enough?
We could talk about it.
You're open.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with the fight. I don't have any problem. I've always been the one that's advocated for the biggest fights. So I've never been the holdup of any situation.
An appetizer to the main course, which is Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, and whatever happens. But we definitely want to be in the ring. We've been out of the ring about 8 months. It's too long. Let's get this Tavern fight going. Let's do that, and then we'll be right back in the ring February, March. There's no reason to wait. We don't need time to get in shape. Deontay's already in shape. Let's do it.
If you can keep talking, I can. I asked Wilder. I said, all right, fast forward. The fight does happen. Wilder, Anthony Joshua, where do you want? He says, I don't care. Anthony can have it wherever he wants. If he wants it in the UK, fine, UK. Las Vegas, Las Vegas. If I had my option, it would be Madison Square Garden. Muhammad Ali fought there. He's my idol. That's what I want. What does Jay Deas want? Where do you want?
I just think that wherever it makes the most money is what I think. Because ultimately, these guys have a life this long, but a career this long. So there's only so many times in a person's life, and in most people's life, there's never a time. But we have an opportunity here for Deontay to do well financially, and as a manager, it's my job to try to maximize his worth and his benefit. So if it's twice as much money over there, or a third more over there than it is here, provided the terms are right and we get over there early enough, I'm cool with wherever it is.
Do you think, like Deontay, he said, we're heavyweights. Can this be bigger than Mayweather Pacquiao, Mayweather McGregor, Canelo Alvarez, and Triple G? That's 2 million, 4 million, 4.4.
Right.
How many pay-per-view buys do you think Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder do?
It all depends on if it catches fire. And I think it will. I think it'll catch fire, and I think everybody will be surprised at how big an event and how big it would be. I think whether it's worldwide pay-per-view or whether it's pay-per-view in select countries, which is what they do sometimes, I'm not sure, but I know that it's an enormous fight and it's can't miss TV. And I think that once these two guys get out there and people get to know who they are through the promotional tour, I think you're looking at an enormous amount of
Last one, I swear to God. You're a manager, right? So obviously we think back to the golden era, is what they call it. I'm using air quotes. You know, heavyweights fought in different countries. Ali and George Foreman, Thriller in Manila. How do we get a Deontay and Anthony Joshua in Africa or Nigeria or something? Is there any dollar signs in that? Is it worth you guys putting it in some foreign country?
Well, you know, Ali fought in 12 foreign countries, so that tells you right there. He was certainly a world champion. He went everywhere that he could go. I think that what you have to do, you would have to get the government involved of whatever country that wants to do the same thing that Zaire did, which is now, of course, the Democratic Republic of Congo. You've got to get the country involved. You've got to get them to back the fight, and you've got to get them to have a reason to bring that big an event to their country, that they want to showcase their country to the world, with the idea that showcase will bring tourism for the next 10, 15, 20 years, because their name, the same reason that countries bid on the Olympics. You know, they want that people are still vacationing in Greece from when they had it, still vacationing in London. It's just an enormous way to get your name out there. It's an infomercial for your country. And somewhere like that, you would have to be over there 5-6 weeks ahead of time. So you get that. It's a great thing if we could get a country that would be interested in showcasing themselves.
Because nowadays these casinos like MGM Grand are buying Bugattis for Floyd Mayweather. Right. Can we see that ever again in boxing? Can we see Wilder in another country?
It's a throwback, but yes, you can, and I would be on board with it. I've been to 19 countries in my life, 17 of which were through boxing. So I would never have been able to go around the world had it not been for boxing. And there's only a few places, continents that I haven't been to. Africa is one of them. I've got a lot of dear friends that are from there. I would love to go.
All right, Jay, thank you so much. Don't want to take no more of your time.
Hey.
There you go.
Look at that.
That's right. Podcast Kings.
No other sight in the game could see the boxing voice.